The only real God is the one that you believe in. Start looking for the God in others. And if you find you're tuning into a wave, well then I don't know much about being saved.
Welcome in, everybody.
Hello, everyone.
Hello, friends. Ghosts, witches,
Goblins. Everyone.
Welcome to another episode of Spiritual Philosophy Chatter with the Joneses, and I'm Danny Jones.
I am Samantha Jones.
And welcome to whoever's joining us, old, new, anybody, ghosts, animals, whatever.
Everyone.
So here we are, episode 27.
27.
We have now passed our 6-month marker.
We have.
Congratulations
again.
And this episode 27 is what?
This is Ghosts and Hauntings. Ooh. This is number 3 of 5 in the spooky series.
Cool.
Yeah.
Fun.
Yes. I'm excited.
Nice.
I wasn't at first. I don't know why. And then all of a sudden I started doing this research and I was like, this is cool.
Maybe because last week was such a pain in the butt a little bit. So
that's true.
Not the episode in itself, but dealing with the issues.
With it, yeah.
So,
yeah.
Cool. Well, before we jump into Ghosts and Hauntings, would you like to talk about anything from last week?
Yes.
All right.
Last week we did witches, like you said.
Cool.
And in that episode, I had talked about 2 of my best friends that are also witches. And so Hannah, after listening to the episode, she sent me this. I wanted to read it.
Okay.
I loved the witch episode. A few things it made me think of. Oz the Great and Powerful. In that movie, it was great that he didn't perform magic. Everything he did that made him a wizard was just him being crafty and smart. How he saved China Doll with the glue and how he distracted the flying monkey with a dove. He was natural. That's a witch. And then I was thinking about how curses are not real. A friend of mine, her son broke up with his crazy girlfriend, and he claimed that she cursed him, and he was freaking out because of a streak of bad luck. He told his mother, she told him that there were no curses, just start praying and do good deeds, and it worked. He started being more polite, holding doors, giving change. It all helped. He just needed more positivity.
Cool.
Yeah.
Nice. Thanks, Hannah.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
Both of those things I had totally forgot about. Oz the Great and Powerful. So I'm going to have to watch that one.
Yeah, there's a huge, it's not huge, it's a very obvious, but it's like, here's this wizard that everybody's heard about, they're going to see, and he's just a normal guy.
Right.
Hiding behind a curtain.
Exactly.
And he's no stronger or better than Dorothy and her friends.
Exactly. And the magic that he's doing is real magic.
Right.
It's not.
He's helping people.
Yeah, exactly. And then about the curses, it really is. Again, your mind is very, very, very powerful. And if you think you have a curse on you, you can will that on yourself. Absolutely.
Right.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. So
what
thanks
else?
for that, Hannah. Appreciate that. Let's see. So then I wanted to say, which I kind of already said, is that we have 2 more weeks in the spooky series, which I'm excited about those 2. But if anybody has anything in particular that they would like to hear about, I would love to put a show together based on what our listeners want to have.
Right.
So you can email us at spiritualjoneses@gmail.com with those suggestions.
Cool.
And then I'm not going to give away what the episode's going to be, but the first week of November, we're going to have a very special episode that I've actually been working on since the beginning when we started this podcast. Cool. I've been waiting for this episode. So nice. Just wanted to give a little hint that there's a heavy but amazing episode on the horizon.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Very good.
That's what I have for you for the recap.
Nice. Good job.
Yeah.
All right. Well, shall we jump into episode 27 then?
Yes.
Ghosts and Hauntings.
Ooh. Okay. My sound effects are bad. Low budget here, people. Low budget.
I had my phone queued up.
Right? It would have been better than mine. Okay. So, as we always do, let's talk about the definition. What is a ghost? A ghost is the soul or spirit of a dead person or animal that can appear to the living. Descriptions of ghosts vary widely from an invisible presence to the translucent or barely visible wispy shapes to realistic lifelike forms. So this really got me started on what's the difference then between spirits and ghosts.
Exactly.
Right. And we're going to get into that. But first, I asked our listeners how many of them believed in ghosts, whether good or bad, just some form of ghost. And 100% said that they do.
I would agree.
Yes. Then I looked at the national average, though, and only 32% believe that ghosts are real.
I wonder if you asked that same percentage if they believed in spirits.
Right. Right. Because I think it has a lot to do with how you look at that word. Again, it's very similar to the witch episode, but in a different way, that it's about the word. It's about how it's portrayed in the movies and how you look at it.
Ghosts are associated with evil or
Yes.
bad, and spirits are associated with good.
Yes,
I would
exactly.
say most of the time.
Right. Absolutely. I totally agree with that. And it was interesting, though. I was looking through, I like to use Wikipedia to try and get a basis on things. And I came across this. This is how science perceives things. The overwhelming consensus of science is that ghosts do not exist. Their existence is impossible to falsify, and ghost hunting has been classified as a pseudoscience. Despite centuries of investigations, there is no scientific evidence that any location is inhabited by spirits of the dead. They chalk it off to when people see ghosts, to hallucinations caused by Alzheimer's.
Where was this report?
This was on Wikipedia.
Oh, okay.
I'm not sure what the sources where they got it from, but I was like, there's no evidence. I mean,
well, if you, excuse me, if we start right there with, if you can't see it, it doesn't exist.
Exactly.
Well, then we're right back to what about air?
Right. Exactly. Right back to it. I don't know. So then I wanted to go a little bit farther with that. Okay. So I started thinking about like, what are the different types of ghosts that there may be? I mean, science says that there's no such thing, but I don't believe that.
I don't.
Yeah. So what type of ghosts do we have? Are they all the same, or are they, so really spirits to me are ghosts.
Yes.
That to me is a one type of ghost. Okay. I mean, really, aren't they all spirits though?
Absolutely.
If you think about it.
Absolutely.
Right.
I think that there are spirits that are confused and maybe linger around here still because they don't want to accept, that their perception really isn't what's real,
Yeah.
So but I don't think they stay forever here.
No.
I think they eventually go. And I think because they're here, confused, it's not that they're here trying to make things fly across the room and cupboards open and shut and lights going on and off and spooking you and scaring you. That's not at all why they're here, because they can't harm you.
Right. Exactly. So I wanted to find out what the difference was, what they say the difference between a ghost and a spirit is. And this is what I got when I looked that up. It said the spirit is the soul of a person wishing to live on without a physical body, can move around family and friends. And then it says ghosts seem incapable of reason or using sound mind, often tied to the location they died, a lot of times from sudden death, murder, tragic passings, said to be tied to the location.
Based on what wait a minute.
Right.
Based on what reason?
I don't know.
I mean, excuse me, what example? When they're saying ghosts can't reason, where the hell did they come up with that?
I don't know. There's so much stuff on the internet that's so contradictory that, like, this is from one of those sites that's like, ghosts are scary and they'll chuck things across the room. And so that's where they're coming from on this definition. And I'm just like, no.
Right.
I don't think so. I mean, okay. Is it possible that when you die, if you die suddenly, your soul stays there for a little while? Yes, it's very possible. I've seen it. I've seen it firsthand with people that have died right after they've died, like within a couple days.
That's what I mean. You're kind of confused. Yes. Like, what?
Exactly.
I was just here.
Yeah. So that's like, we talk about the different levels of heaven, and the bottom level, I think, is like where these ghosts, so to speak, these kind of confused souls are at.
Right.
But I don't think they stay there long. Like, when they talk about location and a location being haunted, which we'll get into later, but when they say that it's always negative things. It's always bad ghosts. It's always tortured souls that haven't moved on. But most of these ghosts are from like the 1800s, and you're telling me that they're still haunting these places and haven't moved on.
Oh, they want to visit the things they love.
Right. And I don't see any reason why they can't go there and have a little fun with people that are curious about.
Yeah, hauntings. I think more of it's out of humor. It's not really like, first of all, it's perception. So if you perceive, you see some image, and again, perception, meaning there are people that can see these and there are people that can't because they don't want to or don't believe it.
Right.
But I do believe they have ghosts or spirits. I'm going to call them really the same thing.
Right.
Have the ability to make themselves visible when they want to, or not necessarily visible, but you'll know their presence in a room. Mm-hmm. But again, that's your perception.
Yes.
So if you're in a dark house and you see an image and you perceive that, or you see a ghost, an apparition, or whatever you want to call it, you see that and you perceive that as scary and oh my God, then it's going to be scary.
That's exactly right.
But if you perceive it as, wow, I was just honored to see the spirit of a former living human being. For some reason, they felt it important enough to show themselves to me.
Right.
And this is not scary at all. Then it won't be scary.
Right. That's exactly right. And, for me as a psychic, I don't see spirits a lot. I don't. Not in that way. Not in like a visual way. Mm-hmm. I have a couple of times when we get into the other types of ghosts, there are certain things I have seen that I'll talk about. But as far as like a ghost, like a silhouette or something, I only see those every once in a while. And I don't know why, but they're usually in our hallway. And I think you've seen it too.
Yeah, I feel like it's only usually out of a peripheral, but I see, it's like a darker silhouette with this kind of like a very
like a glow,
light halo or glow around it,
Exactly. But it's usually right there in the hallway or my office. And it's, at night. And I have a couple of times asked my mom to like try and appear to me. Right. It's never happened. When I do that, I can feel her presence getting stronger, but it's never gotten to the point where I've actually physically seen her. I don't know what I would do if I
don't
did.
know if it's her level or your level, because I know that they have to work to a certain...
It's my level
to be able to do that. They can't do that immediately when we die and go there. I don't think we can immediately do that.
No, I think that this is very much people that can see ghosts or spirits. It's very much about how long you've been doing this, how much you know. Like people that have had that ability since they were a kid, a lot of those actually do see them. Like I've read books where those types of mediums have said that they've seen spirits sitting at the table, things like that. I don't see that. Right. I don't know. But maybe someday I will, because my abilities are getting more and more and they are adding more things onto it. But I don't know that I'm ready for that.
I think it also has to do with the soul and how much experience they have, and how much they've worked at being able to do. Because you have clarified that through your mom with me. Like I've asked, can some move things and make themselves? And she said, yeah, but that takes time.
Yes.
You have to work on that side to be able to do that as well. Just like you have to work on opening your mind and asking for it to actually happen.
That's
because I think why it happens to people that aren't asking for it, I don't know. Maybe they're just subconsciously open to it and they don't realize it, or they do realize it.
Right.
But you made a good point about those in the sense of ghosts and not feeling like they stay here for long. I totally agree with that. And for the main reason is because when all of us pass or transition to the other side, we're never alone.
Right.
So no matter how confused you are about what's happened or happening, there's always some other soul there that's kind of trying to tell you, explain to you.
Yeah.
And they're totally patient and loving, and they let you kind of just do what you need to do, but they're kind of reminding you this isn't really your reality anymore.
Yeah.
And so it's up to you.
Yes.
I would call it something similar to purgatory, but there's no hell involved. It's being stuck between this plane and that plane. until you finally accept and you let go of what you thought your perception was of that. And then you're allowed to be guided to where you're really supposed to go.
Right. And that's where the ghost word comes in. And I think that's where there is maybe, it is a good term to describe those types of spirits that are stuck. But it's our perception of what a ghost is. Like, that ghost isn't going to hurt you. It's just confused.
Right.
Let me tell you a story. This is happened about, I don't know, a year ago at the crosswalk where there was a crossing guard not far from us. The crossing guard was hit and killed by 2 cars that collided. And I was doing a pet sit right where it happened. So I was there, not when it happened, but shortly after. And I was walking the dog, and I saw out of my third eye this woman looking around really, really confused. But she was, I had already knew at this point because I saw on Facebook that it was the crossing guard that had died. But the crossing guard that's normally there is an older man. And I see him and I wave to him all the time. So I was like, oh, kind of heartbroken at that point, thinking it was him. But then I see this vision of this woman, and she was a tall, thin, blonde woman. And she was confused and she was looking around. And then I found out a couple of hours later that it was a tall, thin, blonde woman. She substituted that day. That guard or that crossing guard went to like a schooling thing, and she took over for him that day. And so the fact that I saw her like that was one of the first times that has happened. Wow. And it was intense. And I could feel like she was very, very confused. And so once I found out who she was, because they did release it, I sat here and I tried to help her, whatever it was that I could do. I had never done that before. I had no idea that was even a thing, but I just felt compelled to help her help her cross over.
Right.
And I didn't know if she did. And then a couple weeks later, I was painting rocks, and I painted her a rock, and I took it to her memorial. And when I left, I saw her dancing, and that she was like floating off, and she had transitioned. Nice. So I do totally believe that there is a level that you can get stuck in if you're confused. Yeah. But mediums can help them go, and their loved ones, like you said, they're never alone.
You're never alone.
No.
Just like we're not alone now. Even if you're single and no children and you go to work every day, or you don't go to work every day and you sit in your home, you're not alone.
Yeah.
It might feel like that based on your perception.
Yes.
But you're really not. And those same ones that are around you now will be there to greet you, whether it's one or all of them. They're there to guide you. That's what we're here to do. We guide each other on this plane, and we guide each other on that plane.
Exactly. And there's nothing scary about it either.
No, I mean, that's the whole thing. It's Hollywood, it's movies, it's what we made up. It's our perception that we decided to have fun with, and it's cool. Yeah. Actually getting scared and, that kind of stuff. We go to Halloween Horror Nights, and we partake in that stuff. I used to think for a long time that, that was something unholy and this and that. And then I realized it's just made up.
It's just entertainment. We were having this discussion with Marina last night because she can't handle any of this. Like, she's so sensitive. She doesn't like skulls even. Right. She just wants to be upbeat and positive, which I love so much about her. But I'm like, it's Halloween. Yeah. It's okay. But she's like, it's only okay for like a little while. Like, honey, it's your perception of it. Just let yourself enjoy it. Yeah. Don't worry,
We took her to Halloween Horror Nights last year, and we told her, just explained to her how it works, and said, look, the best thing you can do is not run.
Yes.
If you need to cower around me and hide your face, go for it, but don't run, because then they're just going to chase you. Yeah. So we're trying to, and she brought a friend with her. She thought they were going to be brave enough to do it, and they were.
Yeah. And her uncle is there.
Yeah, there was a lot of people, our friends that we had met there. And so as soon as we walk in the front gate, they have these chainsaws that don't have real chains on them, but they sound like chainsaws and scary clowns. And as soon as we walked in the front gate, they chased her, and she ran. Her friend stayed right next to me. My own daughter ran.
Yeah. What was the one thing we said not to do? Don't run.
So
and she ran.
The night goes on, and eventually later on, we're meeting up with some other people. So we're waiting around in this food area, and the same people that saw her run now start circling her while we're all standing there waiting to meet some people. Yeah. And It was just
we caught this on video.
Yeah, it was on video. She was just terrified.
She
won't go back again.
Well, she's going to Fright Fest,
but she's going alone. Yeah. So I'm like, oh, good luck with that one.
Yeah, well, not alone. She's going with her friends.
Friends.
Yeah, she's not with us, so it should be interesting. But maybe that will help her become a little bit more braver, because even she said, I need to do this. I need to be good with this. You know. But yeah, but again, I keep telling it's all about perception.
She had a lot of religion shoved down her throat, and I just keep saying, look, it's
not about that. Yeah, any of it. It's just this time of year. It's all about,
right.
Have a little fun with it. Don't worry about it so much.
And you could explain it logically to her, and it seemed like she still wouldn't get it. You know, like I'm like, this is Universal Studios. How could they hire all these people to kill people every night every weekend of the Halloween season?
And how come you never hear about it?
You never hear about it, and they're still making movies and making music, and wow. She's sitting there like pondering it for a second, like, yeah, maybe you're right. But then the minute she sees the chainsaw, she thinks it's real.
Yeah,
it was funny.
Yeah, I like to get scared, and I don't anymore.
I'm a little desensitized to it. Yeah,
that's what happens when you go to those things every year. So, yeah. But again, it helps when you don't think those things are real, because going there, I know ghosts aren't real. I'm not gonna take something home with me,
Yeah, so, I'm not afraid to walk in the house when it's dark, or I don't have nightmares that night from it. It's just entertainment.
Exactly.
Like going to a concert.
Yeah. So going back to the different types of ghosts, I would look this up, and besides, ghosts and spirits, there's some different things here. And one of them they call is an interactive personality. And to be honest, to me, this sounds like it's just a regular spirit. But what they said is, this is the ghost of a deceased person, someone a family member, or perhaps even a historic figure. They can become visible, speak or make noise, emit odor, and gently touch you. Often visiting to comfort, keeps the same personality. To me, that's just a regular spirit. But
some of those activities or actions would be something people would relate to as a ghost's behavior.
Right.
Moving things and noises and...
Yep. There's a different category
it's not
for that.
Like, hey, we're here to scare you. It's, hey, we're here to let you know that there is another side.
Right.
That's really all it is.
There is a name for spirits that do throw things. They don't throw things, but like do the flickering of the lights and all those. Do you know what kind of ghost that is? That's a poltergeist. Can you believe that? Yeah. This is what they said about poltergeists. Okay. They call them the noisy ghost. Perhaps one of the most popular terms most of us have heard when it comes to ghosts. The word poltergeist actually means noisy ghost, because it is said to have the ability to move or knock things over, make noise, and manipulate the physical environment. While many of us have heard the term before, a poltergeist is actually one of the rarest forms of hauntings, and to many, the most terrifying. Right. This is from a ghost site, by the way.
Right.
Not like, loud knocking sounds, lights turning off and on, doors slamming, even fires breaking out mysteriously, give me a break, have all been attributed to this type of spiritual disturbance. Okay, let's stop there.
Yeah.
I looked up how many people have been confirmed to be killed by a ghost or a poltergeist. Do you know how many?
0.
Right. So, come on.
Yeah, I mean, and forever now, the movie Poltergeist is embedded in everybody's brain. So when you hear that word, you think, they're here.
That was filmed here in Simi Valley, by the way.
Exactly.
And there's a lot of people that are like, oh.
When have you ever heard of a child being sucked into a television and then a big giant worm spits her out? I mean, come on.
These are movies. Exactly. And at first when I was reading it, before I got to that starting fire thing, I was like, this is just a regular spirit, because they can do those things. They're not doing them to hurt you. They're not.
They're not setting fires.
No, they're not setting fires. They're doing those things to get your attention. And one of the things that they said about the poltergeist is that it will continuously get worse. Yeah, it'll continuously get worse. Do you know why? Because you're starting to pay a little bit of attention, and they're trying to tell you more and more. Yes, I'm here.
Right.
Yes. So yes, those things get heavier and heavier, but they're not going to hurt you.
They're not trying to haunt you. They're trying to excite you.
Right. They're trying to get your attention.
Raise your vibrations to their level, so then you will be able to really believe and understand that they're here.
Yes.
And they're not here to harm you.
But they have no other way to communicate.
They don't.
Because they really cannot just materialize in front of you and talk like they're a hologram. Mm-hmm. It doesn't work like that.
If ghosts were doing that all the time, there would be absolute chaos.
It would be very disruptive. It wouldn't work. It really wouldn't work. And that's why they don't do it. And, you know, I've asked my mom to do things, and she does. Like, there was one time I was at the cemetery with her best friend, actually, and Katie said this. She said, watch, I can make her pinwheel spin. And that's exactly what she did. It was spinning. And she said, Linda, make it go left. And that thing, it stopped. And it started going to the left. And then she went, now stop. And it stopped.
Wow.
Katie is very connected.
Right.
She doesn't talk about it, but she's very connected. So, yes. Could she do that? Yes. Can I do that? Yes. But somebody that maybe doesn't have that, I don't know, that's not their perception. That's not the way they're looking at it.
Or they don't really believe that they're there listening to them.
Right. They don't really believe. They just think, you know, oh,
let me try this out.
Exactly. Then it's not going to work. But the more you believe in it, that's why it starts to happen more and more. It's not because your poltergeist is getting worse. It's because your spirits are trying to show you that you're on the right track and they're around you.
Right. Yeah. And if it doesn't get worse, then you're disconnected.
Right. Absolutely.
Really?
Yeah.
So, no, in essence, we're not telling you to bring on the haunting. Remember, there's no haunting.
Right.
If those things are happening, somebody's trying to talk to you.
I've told this story before, but a lot of times we get new listeners that don't listen back, so I'll tell it again. Mm-hmm. One of the first times that I did have a spirit try and get my attention that way, I walked into a client's home because I'm a pet sitter, and their son had passed away, and I walked in the house, and I heard, "Aren't you scared?" And I was, "Scared of what?" He said, "The house is haunted." I said, "There's no such thing as a haunted house." And I flipped on the light switch, and the light bulb went, right. Not exploded, but you know, when it goes out, that's what it did. Right. And it scared the hell out of me for a second. Right. But then I was
But then if you imagine him on the other side chuckling,
that's exactly
because of what you said,
that's exactly
he
what
was like,
doing.
"Oh yeah? Well, let's try this."
And I said, that was a good one. You got my attention. And every time I'm there now, we talk. He really, really, really got my attention.
That's funny.
But he wasn't trying to hurt me.
No.
You
didn't get hurt.
I didn't get hurt. Did I get a little spooked? Yeah, I did. I mean, who wouldn't? But you come out of it, you're like, oh, that was a good scare. Seriously, they don't get me like that at Halloween Horror Nights because you're not expecting it.
But the minute your perception changes and you realize he's playing a joke with you.
Yes.
And he's not trying to harm you or even scare you.
No.
You change and you realize, that was a good one. You got me.
Exactly. He wanted my attention and he got it. And he's one of the strongest spirits that I've ever had do that. He's on me all the time that he wants me to talk to his mom. But his dad is so shut off from the whole thing that I can't ever talk to her because he's always there. So one day I hope to, but I think that's why he's always talking to me while I'm there. Because anyways,
that's tough.
Yeah, but he's a very strong spirit and he wasn't trying to hurt me.
No. That's cool.
Another type of ghost is called an ectoplasm, or ectomist. A swirling mist or fog appears several feet off the ground and can move slowly or stay in place. It's either white, gray, or black, and many have been caught on video. I've never seen
I've never even looked for one. Seen them in movies.
In movies, yeah, but I've never had mist just suddenly. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Hey guys, can I have some mist?
Yeah, more preferably when it's 95 or 100.
So anyways, never seen that. But I think this one's going to be your favorite, actually.
Okay.
And that's orbs.
I love orbs.
Yes, you do. This is the most photographed type of anomaly. Mm-hmm. It appears as a transparent or translucent ball of light hovering. It's usually circular shaped, and because it makes them easy to see and move around. Mm-hmm. They're usually white or blue. You see them all the time. We have a camera in our living room, and
I don't see them with my actual eyes, but I catch them on film.
Yeah, exactly.
Or we catch them on film.
Exactly. We have a camera in our living room, and sometimes when we're out, I'll check the dogs on the camera, and if it's nighttime, usually I can see the orbs, and I've I've sat and I've recorded those and I've watched them back and I've moved them really slowly to make sure that it's not a bug or something. And those are not bugs.
No, they're not.
Those are orbs. And you can say it's dust, but it only happens when they're home alone. When Marina's here or you're here, that doesn't happen. It's just when they're home alone. So I know that that's my spirits watching over our dogs.
Maybe Koya.
Koya, yeah. They're watching over our babies, and they're showing me that because those don't happen when others are here. It's
but
really
when we are here, like doing music, and there's been many photographs in here, they're all over.
Yes, that's another one.
And multiple in one photo.
Yep.
I think I counted like maybe me and Gabe were looking at a couple of the photos, and I think it was like 4 or 5 in one photo. Right,
exactly. Yep. And sometimes our phones do make like a reflection that does look like an orb. And that, I've
tested it.
Yeah, we've tested it.
And I can make those.
Yes, we can make those. Those are different. So if you see those ones, you can usually tell by just holding your phone still. And if it stays in the same place, then it's from your camera. It's not, an orb. But they do look very different. The orbs are they're much rounder. They remind me of like in The Wizard of Oz when Glinda comes down in her little ball.
Yeah.
They remind me of that a little bit, but small.
Yeah. And like you said, the camera will do that. However, the ones that, like I said, the photo that Gabe and I were looking at, you can't get that in different areas, multiple in different areas of the shot.
Right. No, you can't.
It only happens by one glare in one spot.
I have one picture. Oh, I wish I knew where it was of me and Sequoia, and we're outside, and I have my arms around her, and there are orbs everywhere. I was like, "Whoa!" This picture was crazy.
Yeah,
it was pretty cool. So yeah, that's a good type. I
think that's probably the most purest, their form of what's the word I'm looking for? If they were to manifest themselves to be visible, that's probably the purest form, because that is essence the form that you take there.
Exactly.
You can actually take human form on the other side if you choose, because again, it's all you're playing with perception.
Right.
So, but you could have one soul walk by each other, 2 souls walk by each other, and one is an orb and one is a body.
Right. Exactly.
It's just what you feel like.
And how they get around. What's the easiest way? That's the easy way, right?
Right.
Yep. So love that.
Cool.
And another way are shadow people.
Which is kind of what we talked about in the hallway.
Kind of.
Right.
Shadow people are the first types of spirits I started seeing. And I don't see them as much anymore. But it was kind of like how they got me into this whole thing as I started seeing the shadow people. My friend Chelsea and I, we call them shadow effers. Because they will pop up on you at the least expecting times, and it scares you sometimes, I'm going to say. But anyways, the definition of that is they appear in the corner of your eye, but vanish as soon as you look at them. Shape of a silhouette of a person or an animal.
Wait, can you say that one more time in the beginning?
They appear in the corner of your eye or out of the corner of your eye, but vanish as soon as you look at them.
That's what happened. Like in the hallway when I try, like I said, it's peripheral. As soon as I try to look, it's like it just, like goes.
There was one day that I was at a client's house, and it's kind of like, the way I can describe it is like when you do that double take, that you feel something and you see something and you're like, whoa, what was that?
Right.
But it's gone. But you feel it. That happened to me at a client's house one day, and it kind of freaked me out a little bit. But they're not trying to freak you out. They're just trying to show you that they're around. But because, we're not ready for it, it can. It makes you feel like maybe there's an actual person there.
Right.
I think that's
what
I'm more scared about.
You still feel their energy. It's not just sight. You're feeling like what even compels you sometimes to even look over there. You're like, I feel like.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Sure.
Yeah. I do still see Sequoia as a shadow. It was very shortly after she passed, maybe the next day, that I was in the living room with Sabbath. Well, he was outside, I think, and all of a sudden I saw a shadow walking by. I thought it was him, and then he came in the dog door, and he saw it too. And so we knew it was Sequoia. You could see that we were both just like, whoa, because he was there. It had to be her. It didn't go away. But then it did. I mean, it didn't like out of the corner of my eye. It was actually right there. And sometimes I see her. I feel like I'm going to trip over her.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Me too. Sometimes in the hallway.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was one time where we thought we heard the tapping.
Yeah.
In the bathroom, which she used to lay in the bathroom and tap her toes.
Yeah.
And she was gone.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't Sabbath. Sabbath does that sometimes, but
he wasn't
with
in there.
us. Yeah. So yeah, they can do some pretty cool things. I think that's mostly how the animals like to get through to us because they don't have the same kind of.
It's intended to be comforting, not scaring.
That's exactly right.
And the problem is what we've done to ourselves with all this imagination is scared ourselves.
Well, I think too when you not just that, but that feeling of maybe that it is an actual person in the house.
Mm-hmm.
There was one night that I got up to get something to drink, and I was standing in the kitchen, and I looked out the window, and there was a white shadow person, and it didn't go away. It stayed there.
It was like an Indian.
It looked like an Indian.
Right.
It was the weirdest thing. It was all white with a headdress. That's what it looked like. It stayed right there. It was so weird. So, yeah. So that's all of the types of ghosts that they say that there's,
Right.
Different. So I've seen most of these except that ectoplasm one. I don't know. So then I wanted to learn a little bit more about hauntings and what hauntings are considered. And basically, a haunted house is just a place that's frequented by a ghost. So everybody's house is haunted then.
Right.
And what's funny about that is I asked our listeners how many believe in haunted houses. 100% said that they do. And you know what? You're all right.
Our house is haunted.
Our house is haunted.
Because we got a lot of them around
haunted
here.
right now. I can say, hi, Mom. Yeah.
Hi, Mom.
Hi, Mom. Hi, Dad. Hi, everybody. Because they're here always. People don't want to come here. And I know that because they're worried about the house being haunted. But I promise you, you're not going to know they're here.
No.
You're not going to have the slightest clue.
Unless you are connected yourself.
Well, but if you're not and you're just coming here and you think that, you're going to see stuff or hear, you're not.
And again, the word haunted, that's another man-made word. I would say our house is occupied.
It is very occupied. Yeah. There's not enough room for everybody. No, I joke. But yeah. So then I asked that question, right? How many believe that? And 100% believe in haunted houses. Mm-hmm. So then our friend Nisha commented. And she says, if someone believes their house is haunted, it may be. However, it's all about perception. There will be a story behind why they are there and more than likely mean no harm.
Thank you, Nisha.
Yes.
Well said.
Yes, Nisha. Thank you. They absolutely mean no harm. And I believe, we've never really been to, a haunted place. I'd like to go. I really would. Because I think that those spirits that are there aren't they're obviously not there to scare us,
right?
But they're not stuck there.
Right.
They can leave whenever they want.
Like, you see those memes that people post, would you stay here in this house?
Oh, I love those.
For $1 million for one night?
Yeah, I love those.
Dude, I ain't nearly as worried about ghosts as I am the snakes and the spiders.
The spiders, yeah. No, I don't want to be in that house with the spiders. If you can tell me that there's no spiders in there, it's not gross, then yeah. Absolutely.
I'll take $1 million. I'll stay the night there.
I'll stay the night there for free because you know what? It would be so interesting, to find out, see how many spirits would come through and what their situation was. It's not scary. It's how you look at it.
Right.
Absolutely. I don't know. I really would like to do one of those things someday, though, like a ghost tour or whatever, just to see what I feel because I never have.
Right.
And as a medium, that would probably be very interesting.
Yeah.
So then coming back to that about the hauntings and stuff, I asked, so these ghosts that are haunting, are they dangerous? Are they dangerous? Can they hurt you? And 80% of our listeners said no. And according to even the most, the paranormal experts, the ones you see on TV and those, they will tell you they're not going to hurt you. They've done case studies on it. They're not going to hurt you. Those shows, those ghost hunter shows, they bother me. Do you know why?
It glorifies it.
It does, but it makes it this whole, I don't know, makes it something it's not. They add the spooky music, they add the suspense and this, that, and the other, and that's not what it's like.
No.
But
because without that, it would kind of be really boring.
Yes, that's exactly right.
Except you just see a bouncy light in the middle there, trying to find something. But
yeah.
I don't know if I ever told you this, but the guy that DJ'd my first wedding, he was on that. ABC did a show for a little while about those kind of, it was something spooky.
Mm-hmm.
But they flew him and his family to Vladimir Dracula's castle in Romania. They take each member and put them in a different room of the castle, and then they have to find their way kind of in the dark to each other. And I remember talking to him a little bit about it. Like, were you really scared? And how, Yeah. I think he said that they definitely did stuff to scare them.
Yeah.
To make it look like it was haunted and things were happening.
Yeah.
I didn't get the sense from him that he really bought it in the end, that it was
right.
It was just a big, dark, scary castle that you knew some insane man lived in centuries ago, or however many hundreds of years ago.
Right.
But
and if you were to go to a place like that, and again, your perception, you can handle it in a couple of different ways. If you sit there and think, oh my gosh, something's going to get me. Oh my gosh, something's going to happen. And you're just freaking yourself out. You're making the situation bad.
Yep.
But, let's say that you just sit there on your phone and you just Facebooking or whatever and ignoring, the thoughts of, oh, there could be something scary here.
Right.
Then again, there's nothing scary is going to happen.
No.
It's all about your perception.
No, you have a better chance of a plane crashing into your living room.
Yeah,
than
for sure.
Being killed by a ghost.
Well, yeah. Or hurt by a ghost.
Right.
But there is actually a fear of ghosts. It's called phasmophobia.
Wow.
And it says it stems from the fear of the unknown, deep-seated fear that is hardwired into our genetic makeup, which makes a lot of sense, really, if you think about it.
Yep.
Because I was reading a little bit more about this, and the way that they kind of described it is like, let's say you're going into a forest or a jungle, okay, and there's snakes and everything, and you're scared that something might get you, snake, spiders, whatever. Mm-hmm. You have that fear going into it, okay? Right. So when you go into a situation where you think that it might be haunted, you're going in the same way. You're going in with your guard up.
Right.
So what you want to experience is what you experience.
Right. I'm not trying to bash on any one particular institution or religion, but I definitely feel like that evil, dark element about the ghosts and stuff like that is based on Christianity in a lot of ways, or Satanism, which is the counterpart to Christianity. Without that, and without no preconceived notion in your mind that there's some sort of hell or place you're going to go to that's like these things you've made up or we've made up and put them on television and movies,
right?
Then there's no fear.
Exactly.
But the minute that's implied, and if it's implied to you at a young age, and we all know young minds absorb everything, then of course you're going to be scared.
Exactly. And that's where hell comes from.
Yeah.
Too. I'm glad you brought that up, actually, because I did look into that a little bit about the religion, and it talks about how Jesus had to convince his followers that he wasn't a ghost.
Right.
Because he walked on water. Mm-hmm. He had to convince them that he wasn't a ghost. But then it says some Christian denominations consider ghosts as being those who are tied to the earth, no longer live on the material plane, and linger in an immediate state before continuing on their journey. On occasion, God will allow the souls in this state to return to the earth to warn the living of the need of repentance. This is where they lost me.
Right.
Christians are taught that it is sinful to attempt to conjure or control spirits.
Right.
And that's why Christians don't like what I do.
Right. Well, I don't think Christ came here to warn us about hell.
Right.
Okay? Christ came here to show us kind of like what we've been talking about, and what Nisha pointed out is perception.
Right.
That Christ believed he could walk on water, and those that believed he could walk on water, they witnessed it.
Right, exactly.
He did it because he believed, and he was trying to show, among other things, that you can manifest and do what you put your mind to.
Right.
You can heal others, you can help others, you can love others.
Yep.
That is the general basis of what he's trying to say.
Yeah.
Now, it's in a book of a lot of other translations that I don't necessarily agree with, but I do agree with that.
Yes, absolutely.
And if you look at him compared to Buddha and what Buddha was trying to say and do, very similar.
Yes.
So
it's all about peace and love.
It really is. These people were real, and they came here for a reason to teach us something. And guess what? We missed it, man, or we're not getting it completely collectively.
Right, exactly. Well, and it talks a lot in the Bible too about like that ghosts can actually be demons in disguise.
Wrong.
Right. And that's where the movies come in, because that's what they've done is they've made us believe that as well.
Right.
That these ghosts they're devils, they're bad. They
We'll discuss that in the next one, the demon part.
Exactly,
possession, stuff like that.
Yep. So I did something a couple months ago, actually, and it's funny that this came up now because I didn't even really know why I was doing it. But I joined a couple of groups on Facebook that are paranormal groups, and I'm not really into the paranormal, like the ghost hunting. I'm not into that.
I think it's entertaining to watch.
It is entertaining.
It's fun in some sort of scary kind of way, but it's not at all what it is.
And most of the people in those groups that really get into it, they don't want to address things the way that I do them because it comes a different way. It comes more from a spiritual, chill kind of way than ghosts, right?
Right.
So anyways, so I joined these groups on Facebook and started kind of talking to people, and they started talking about ghost hunting apps. Okay. So there's a bunch of apps that iTunes or whatever that they have that supposedly hunt ghosts. Okay. Well, we know our house is full of spirits, right?
Right.
And so I tried this out, and I got quite a few of these apps. And these apps are ridiculous. They are so like just for entertainment purposes only. There's nothing real about them. Like there's one that said that it started feeling all of this energy, right? And then it came up with a word, and the word was just so nuts. I was like, this is just bogus. Just dumb. Those things, I don't know.
Sounds like it.
Right. But what was funny about it was that there was a girl in one of the groups that was talking about how she felt that her house was so-called haunted, right? And she didn't know what the spirit wanted. So I offered to find out what the spirit wanted from her, right? I even offered to go to her home for free because I've never done that before and I would like to, right? She didn't want to take it from that point of view. She wanted the ghost hunters to come out. She didn't want the medium to come out and actually find out what was going on.
Right.
She wanted the ghost hunters. And she even asked me, like, there's tools, what are they called? Dowsing rods. Do you know what I'm talking about? Where there's like these rods, you hold on to them.
Right.
And then when there's a spirit, they like come together or something. She's like, do you have those? I'm like, no, I'm like a walking set of those. Like, what would I need those for? But she didn't want that approach, you know. But then they went out there and they did what they were going to do. And then she still messaged me later, like, I would still like some more, you know, find out. Whatever.
Some people dig on the sensationalism of all that.
Right, exactly.
And
and there's like all kinds of different like ghost hunting tools too. There's something called a EVP, it's electric voice phenomenon, and it's supposed to pick up like ghost voices. And I tried that one too, and that was
I believe that we'll get to a point where we can take pictures and see other stuff that we can't really capture with cameras now.
Right.
So
absolutely.
I believe that it'll come a time where we'll be able to maybe capture them more often.
Yeah.
But then again, they're pretty smart, so that's only if they want to show themselves. But they show themselves enough. I don't think it...
Yeah.
Meaning we'll be able to actually catch orbs more clearly.
Right.
Shadow effers.
Right.
Or silhouettes, whatever you want to...
Yeah. Yeah. No, totally. But I think there's also a reason why we don't see them more than we do. And they're, you know... It probably is better that way.
Well, yeah, there has to be some sort of separation. Like, okay, we are living in two different dimensions here. We can't interrupt that much.
Exactly.
But it is important that humanity knows that when you die, it's not lights out.
Right, exactly.
And it's not, we're going to a fiery lake in hell.
Right, exactly.
You're going where everybody else is going, and they're just trying to let you know that.
Right. I think the thing, like, with the ghost hunting and stuff is that if you should just have fun with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, if you're going to do those types of things, because, like I said, I'd really love to go on one of those. And I know, like, Nisha's been on those. Look at it as entertainment. Don't look at it as something that's, you know, that's there to frighten you, because they're not there to frighten you or hurt you. No, you're not going to get hurt. Don't not take one of those, because you're afraid you're going to
You have
get
a better
hurt.
chance of getting hurt by running away scared and tripping and breaking your ankle
Exactly.
than you do if they're going to
Exactly.
do anything to you.
And I think, again, it's about perception, and they want us to have fun with these things. And I do believe that, like, places like the Queen Mary out here that they say are haunted and whatnot, that these spirits, they're just having a good time with us too,
Yeah, because they can come and go.
Yeah.
They're allowed to wander freely of this world because most people aren't aware that they're there.
Right. Exactly.
So if you're worried about anything you didn't see while you're alive, don't worry, because you can see it when you die.
You're going to see it when you die.
You can go there. And you don't just see it, you live it through those that are there witnessing it that are alive.
Yes.
You live it through them vicariously. You almost feel the energy and their emotions of whatever it is they're witnessing.
Yep. I was just thinking about, and it's funny, I saw this on TV the other night. I don't know if you noticed it, but Casper the Friendly Ghost.
Oh, yeah.
And I hadn't seen that in years. And my mom loved Casper. So it came on, and it was the same week that we're doing this ghost episode. And I was like, of course it is. But I just kind of got this vision of Casper, right? And how he was not just friendly, but if I remember correctly, he did interact with people. If I remember the cartoon
he scared
correctly.
people sometimes. And I think he always felt bad. Like, he's like, well, what? I'm friendly.
Right. But that's kind of how I feel. Like, they want us to just look at it as they're here, they're friendly, they're not going to hurt you, they're here to help you.
Right.
Look at them as Casper the Friendly Ghost, that they're a part of your life. Whether you feel it or not, you'll have spirits around you. We all do. They are here. They are everywhere.
Yep.
Even those people that you weren't talking to when they died, they are here.
Bygones are bygones at that point, people.
Exactly.
They're not looking on the other side going, oh, I remember them. They totally were mean to me.
No.
That's all gone.
It is. It's all gone.
You're the only one holding on to that if you're holding on to that.
Mm-hmm, exactly. So I think the point of that, of why they showed me that, was because they just want us to realize that this is okay. It's a part of life. The spirits, the so-called ghosts, nobody's going to hurt you. Don't worry about it.
No.
Enjoy it. I love it.
Yeah, I'm not going to say that I'll never see one and be like, whoa.
Yeah, it's startling sometimes.
I actually would be honored if one would show them.
Yeah, absolutely.
You could do it in a, not a dark room. That would be nice, but
I'm waiting for the day that I'm like, you see my mom? She's standing over there. I know one day it's going to happen because I have those third eye visions. Right. I can see them all very, very clearly. And I feel them a lot of times too, where like if they are on the other side of the room, I can feel their energy. I can see them with my third eye, but it's not right there.
Yeah. I wish I look forward to the day that I can be a little bit better at that. I get flashes.
Yeah.
And I guess the one that just popped in my mind was Chelsea's mom when we were talking about that months ago. And then I saw a vision of a woman, standing on the street, like homeless. And I was like, whoa,
right.
This is wild,
And those are, those visions. And I think that for you and for me and anybody that's going through this, because we do know a lot of people that are going through this as well, is that it does take time to build. And I'm fast tracked. So we can't compare. You can't compare to me. I'm being fast tracked so that this can be my career where you don't have to do that. So, but I think that eventually you'll have the same abilities that I have and probably will be able to see them. And I am curious if there are others that do see them, other mediums or whatever. Because Chelsea and I we do have this conversation sometimes, and she's seen, like I said, the shadow effers and stuff like that, but she's not there either. And I don't know that most of my friends are, but I would love to hear from ones that are. I'd love to hear your experiences on that.
Yeah.
Because
and
that would be awesome.
If it's happening to somebody out there that you're having, random like vision or flashes, it's like, don't disregard that as just some random thing that popped in your mind. There, a lot of these things, if not all of them, have particular meanings to them.
They do. And a lot of times, what you've done really is now you're starting to see, because it's always hindsight. You see after the fact, you're like, oh, I saw that. But now you're starting to learn that when you have those feelings, those are visions. So you're still, like, in hindsight, you're still seeing it, but you're seeing it actually now too, and that's building. Well,
with the example of that flash of that woman, I did share that with you.
Yes,
and we were both kind of like, oh, okay, that's weird.
Well, and
then fast forward a couple months later,
yeah,
and it was like it happened,
right?
And I was like, whoa.
Well, there's a lot of things that you've said that I don't even think you realize.
That.
Yeah.
The more I sit and kind of look at it, like you said, in hindsight, in retrospect, I start to see, oh, yeah, I had visions of all these things.
Yep. And a lot of times you're like, oh, I do it. And I'm the same way. Like, I should have written it down, you know? But I think our point is you can build these things. Yeah. You can. And if you do want to see spirits, again, there's no reason why you can't. Nope. I think I don't really see them like that yet because I'm not ready.
Right.
When I'm ready, I think they'll appear to me like that. And as soon as they do, I will let everybody know.
Right.
Because I want to see one. Right there.
Yeah.
I want to see my mom right in front of me. That'd be weird. I think I'd break down.
I'm just trying to practice, like, focusing really good at the peripheral, like, so, because I want to get a good look, but I don't want to, like,
right?
Look
you don't
want to
make them go away. Yeah. You're like, I see you over there, shadow person. Yeah. I feel like they know when we see them, so they're like, phew. Yeah. But, and those feelings, like, you know, you have those feelings sometimes, too, of not being alone.
Right.
Same kind of thing.
Yeah, because
their presence.
The energy, you feel their presence.
And it can be very overwhelming. We had a friend over the other day that got very overwhelmed talking about these things in our house, and that's them.
Yeah, they were coming on to him like, come on, buddy.
Exactly.
Let it go.
Those emotions that you feel, whether scared or you start crying or whatever it is, that's their energy. Doesn't mean they're trying to scare you. It just means they're trying to let you know that they're there.
It's like if you could imagine them just putting their hands on you or putting their arms around you.
Absolutely.
That you feel their energy because you can't see it. You don't understand what the connotation of what it is they're doing.
Exactly.
And I just try to vision that more, and it's so much more comforting. Now it's like when I feel those chills and the hair stand up, I can actually focus on it and make it happen more while it's happening.
I can
too. Bring it in waves.
Yep.
So
exactly.
I realize it's like an energy source.
It is. And for a lot of people, those chills and the hair standing up, exactly. It scares them.
The emotion scares them.
Right, because it's something that they don't normally feel and they have no idea what's going on. But when those things happen to you, embrace them.
There's power in there. There's power in there.
Don't push it off as an evil ghost is watching you, because that's not it at all.
No.
At all. It's all very positive. And again, there are some souls that are a little bit confused, trapped between here and there, that maybe, are, looking for their way there, but they're not going to hurt you, and they're not going to, that kind of thing.
No. God and the universe
Everybody's
won't allow that.
No, we're all good.
Right.
My mom told us once that your best day on earth is your worst day in heaven. And so I like to picture those people that are even confused there, that they're still happier than we are here. So, yeah,
because once you go to their side and you're in your purest form, you're what you really are.
Yeah.
There is no bad. There is no evil. You have no desire to inflict pain, harm, fear, worry on anybody.
No.
You want to do good, and that's why you'll choose to most likely come back and do it all over again.
Right.
So the things you missed, you'll learn.
Right.
And are they playing with us sometimes? Oh, yeah.
Oh, yes, absolutely. They do like to play and have a good time.
Yes.
Yep. And that's how they get our attention, and there's nothing
But
wrong
it's
with
fun,
that.
not fear.
It is. I would really like to do an episode at some point just about the things that we've learned from the other side about how we think as humans and how complicated we make things.
Oh, yeah.
Because both of us have calmed down so much in so many different areas of our lives now that we know the things that we know, and we know that they're not looking down on us. These spirits, these so-called ghosts, they are not looking at what we do as negative, even if we feel that it's negative, because it's all learning. It's all for learning. It's all for growing, and things that we think are bad that are not necessarily bad.
No.
It's amazing what it opens up, and I can't wait to share even more of it with our listeners.
Yeah, it's like a process of regurgitating all the shit that's been shoved down my throat.
Really, it's the weirdest thing, you guys. Like, I can't even explain to you how much your thought process changes, and once you start.
And
to
I don't
see
mean
things
just
like
what
this.
your parents teach you because they're only teaching you what they were taught. But that's what I'm talking about, this deep-seated teaching that we teach our society about many different things. It mainly starts with our children, which are the sponges that absorb it all.
Yes.
And then what do? They have children, and they pass it on, and so on, and so on, and so on, and so on. So it's I'm just kind of got to get it out, man.
Right.
I'm starting over.
Right, exactly. It's like getting rid of that junk, getting rid of the garbage, and it's hard, but you can do it. We've been doing it. It's great.
For sure.
Yeah. So
cool.
Yeah. Yay.
Awesome. Well, there you have
Episode 27.
Ghosts and Hauntings.
Yay, love it.
Sorry if we didn't scare you.
Yeah, boo. Yeah,
well, before we say adios, amigos, would you like to
plug myself?
Please.
Sure. Again, I make it easy for you, and I'll just tell you my website is SamanthaJonesPsychicMedium.com, so you can find everything about me there. I have a blog, podcast, I do readings, do mentoring, blah, blah, blah. You guys probably have heard it a million times. If you haven't, SamanthaJonesPsychicMedium.com. For everything. Yay.
Cool.
Yeah.
If you like art, djonesartcollection.com, at djonesartcollection for Facebook and Instagram. If you like music, gypsybrown.com, also on Facebook, and at Gypsy Brown Music for Instagram.
Yay.
So that's it for me.
Yay.
Well, thanks everybody for listening in.
Yes, thank you once again.
We hope you are having a great week.
Yep.
And a spooky.
Spooky. Almost Halloween.
Yeah, almost Halloween.
Yep.
So enjoy, have fun with it.
Yep.
We will. We hope you have a great week. And until next week, peace and love.